What if a killer could predict the exact moment police would finally corner him? Not just brag, but lay out the details of his own arrest with chilling accuracy. This is the twisted story of the Zodiac Killer, a murderer who taunted authorities with bold predictions of his downfall that, in a bizarre way, actually came true. Our story begins on a cold December night in 1968. On a remote lover's lane in Vallejo, California, two teenagers, David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, were on their first date. Suddenly, a shadowy figure approached their car and fired a barrage of bullets, killing them both execution-style. There was no motive, no witnesses, and the only clues left behind were shell casings and a baffling silence that sent a shiver through Northern California. 6 months later, on the 4th of July, the nightmare returned. Darlene Ferrin and Mike Mageau were parked at a local golf course when a man with a flashlight blinded them before opening fire. Darlene was killed instantly. Mike survived multiple gunshots by playing dead, but this time the killer wasn't content with just murder. Just 40 minutes after the attack, the killer made his grand debut. He called the Vallejo police from a payphone, calmly confessing to the double murder. He left the phone dangling off the hook, a taunting gesture for the police to find. This call marked the birth of his infamous identity, the Zodiac, complete with his signature crosshair symbol. He wasn't just a killer, he was a performer craving the spotlight. His thirst for attention escalated. In September 1969, he attacked another young couple, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard, at Lake Berryessa. This time, he was in costume bizarre, black executioner's hood with his symbol stitched on the front. After tying them up, he brutally stabbed both of them with a long knife. Cecilia died 2 days later, but Brian miraculously survived. The Zodiac then drove to a payphone, but not before scrawling a message on Brian's car door, documenting the time and weapon of his crime. He was leaving a trail of breadcrumbs, daring police to follow. The terror then moved to the heart of San Francisco. In October, cab driver Paul Stein was shot point-blank in the head. As teenagers watched in horror from across the street, the killer calmly wiped down the cab and walked away. Minutes later, police officers actually stopped and questioned a man matching the suspect's description. He coolly told them he saw the gunman run in the opposite direction, and the officers, tragically, let him go. The Zodiac later bragged about this encounter in a letter to the San Francisco Chronicle. Mocking the police, "I was stopped and questioned by 2 cops. They would never catch me because I have been too clever for them." This was his first major prediction, that the police were too incompetent to ever catch him. And for decades, he was right. He sent over 20 letters to the press, filled with cryptic ciphers, bloody scraps of Paul Stein's shirt, and threats to attack a school bus. He claimed to have 37 victims, though police could only confirm 5. One of his most famous ciphers, the 340 cipher, remained unsolved for 51 years. When it was finally cracked in 2020, it offered no name, just more taunts. I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me. But here's where the story gets even stranger. While Zodiac boasted about his cleverness, he also seemed to foreshadow his own eventual unmasking. He hinted that police blunders would ironically lead to his downfall, almost as if he knew his ego would be his undoing. And in a way, his prophecy came true. The Zodiac was never officially caught, but his own taunts created a legacy that guaranteed he would never be forgotten. Amateur sleuths and investigative groups like the Casebreakers have pored over his clues for decades. In 2021, they pointed to an Air Force veteran named Gary Francis Post, citing anagrams in the Zodiac's ciphers and a scar that matched a police sketch. Another prime suspect, Arthur Lee Allen, died in 1992, but the circumstantial evidence against him, from his Zodiac brand watch to a typewriter matching the letters, has kept his name tied to the case. While DNA later cleared him, the questions linger. The police incompetence that Zodiac predicted absolutely prolonged the mystery, allowing it to grow into a modern myth. The Zodiac predicted he would evade capture, and technically he did. But his other unspoken prediction also came true. By turning his crimes into a media spectacle, he ensured he would be hunted forever, not just by police, but by the public. He was captured by the very infamy he created. His case remains a chilling reminder that some mysteries may never be solved, but the search for answers never truly ends. Thanks for watching. If you're fascinated by unsolved mysteries, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive.